Hi everybody, welcome back to She Who Remembers. I'm your host, Antonia, and this week we are going to be talking about the process of unlearning and relearning different beliefs. So the week prior to last, we spoke about observing just how you move through life, different thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and then just being aware of what that feeling or sensation was inside of you. And then last week we talked about putting words to that feeling and to those different emotions that may have been coming up, and really being able to start unpacking where that may have rooted from, the earliest that you remember that happening, what person that might be associated to, and then creating the lessons and the gratitude in that. And so this week we're going to do a belief that you remember or that you know or that you still stand by from childhood, because most of the time these different patterns are really imprinted in us from childhood. And then we are going to rewrite that belief into something that you truly resonate with now. And so this is a practice that you can keep doing for the rest of your life, because as you get older, you will realize the different imprints that happen from different friend groups or from different jobs, careers, and so on and so forth. So this is something that you can really keep in your little tool bag of resources and things to go to that you're able to use when you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling like, I don't totally align with that belief, or this doesn't feel like a full body yes to me, this just isn't sitting right. So I have a really beautiful book. It's called Angel Intuition, and she goes through quite a few subconscious blocks and really sheds light on where you can start if you don't know where to start. So if you don't have a pen, a pencil, and a little notepad to write on, go get one now, or open like the notes app in your phone so that we can jot down just a few of these. And so when you're going through this exercise, I just want you to think of the first word or phrase that pops into your head. And then I want you just to write that down, because typically if we start ruminating or overthinking on some of these different questions, you're going to then be using your ego, and you're going to be using this very conscious mind to be like, oh, okay, I think it's this. And then you're going to start nitpicking, and it's going to tend to be probably the belief that was associated with what you need to unlearn versus the real raw truth of what you actually need to know, which is stored in the subconscious mind, which will be this quick hit. And if you really don't know, just go to the next and then you can come back to the first. So the first question: what is my biggest subconscious block around romantic love? And you can write a word, it can be a color, it can be a person, it could, whatever comes into your mind. First thing, write it down. What is my biggest subconscious block with my health? Could be a word, could be a phrase, could be a memory. What is my biggest subconscious block about my career or calling? Take your time with this. You can keep pausing. What is my most significant subconscious block that stems from childhood? I'm not doing all of these, by the way. I'm just doing a few that I think are really helpful. What is my biggest subconscious block around money and abundance? And lastly, which subconscious block is holding me back from loving myself more? So really take these, and I want you to, whatever word or phrase or thing that came up for you, I want you to then take that and really write out where that was first associated with you, almost like we were doing in the onion exercise last week of, okay, what's holding me back from a romantic relationship right now? It's this anxious avoidant attachment style that I have. Okay, well, where did my anxious avoidant attachment style resonate from? Okay, well, it was probably inconsistent love in my childhood from my parents because they did X, Y, or Z, and now I think that I need to earn love, for example. And so I'm not able to, this makes me, run from men when they get too close, or this makes me anxious when they don't text me back, and then you can really start peeling back those layers and realizing, and then it gets into this whole big thing of like, okay, so now you've really broken down all of these things and realize, okay, well, these are the blocks that are associated from here. I put awareness onto the why. So now I can really start to then rewrite that belief and put myself into a space of working on that thing that is blocking me from having a healthy relationship, right? So that would look like, I do not need to earn love. I am full as I am. So it's important that you realize in this situation that you can only control what you can control. You can't control how the other person is going to act or react. So you have to just hold your own ground and be so firm in your worth and in your thoughts and in your beliefs. And then that then comes from a very healthy, healed place versus projecting on to everybody who's coming in your path because of the wound from childhood, because you weren't loved properly, and now this person needs to show you the love that you need, when really all you need to be doing is giving that to yourself. This is a very extravagant example, and I'm sorry because that was maybe a lot for the beginning here, but some other maybe more simple examples that I can give you of different limiting beliefs that I've had to overcome in my life were, my father's a very hardworking man. And so from a very young age, it was instilled in me to work hard, make a lot of money, be able to take care of yourself. And I'm not saying that those things are not important. They're incredibly important. But I went to college, I got a corporate job, and then I realized like I made it really far up the ladder working for the really great company that I was working for, and I wasn't happy. And I'm like, wait, but this is success. I've made it. I'm doing well. I've been in this company for years. I'm making 6 figures. And it was like, now what? Like, is this, I kept asking myself, is this it? And no, there has to be more to life. Like I wasn't really healing people or helping people or bettering anybody's lives. If anything, I was actually making people more sick and more unhealthy because the drinking and the partying aspect of the job, and it was, it was a whole thing. Granted, like, yeah, okay, you're doing the right thing of societal standards, getting the good job and having the 401k and the benefits and all of these amazing things that came, as accessories with the job. But I defined success as something else when I eventually quit corporate America. I said, I do not align with climbing the corporate ladder as making it or being successful. But for some people, that is their version of success, and that's a beautiful thing. But I had to rewrite my belief in that success came from living my soul's purpose and from just being happy and at peace every day, from having a very calm nervous system, and from having slow mornings and being able to work on my own schedule, not the amount of money in my bank account. Because I believe that living in alignment with your purpose will then bring all of the financial abundance. And that's that. So that was like a very big one to overcome because that had been instilled in me from childhood. And I was made to feel like within myself that, oh, well, if I'm not making a certain amount of money, or if I'm not, hustling in this corporate job, then I'm not doing enough, that I'm, like what is going on? So really being able to live and embody what my true belief was so important. And so another thing that you can do outside of the questions that I gave you, are kind of just a little like jump start if you don't really know where you want to start. Another way that you can start this is by writing out very simple beliefs in anything that's popping into your mind of things that you may be a little bit questionable about, i.e., your religion, having kids, being in a classic relationship or getting married, going to college, having a corporate job, different lifestyles of extreme dieting or like health habits in terms of eating or needing to have a morning routine. I mean, this can be thousands of things. It's gonna be so many things. So it really just comes down to like, what are the things that are very present for you right now in your life that you feel like are blocking you from getting to that next level? And again, this podcast being for the collective, it's going to look different for every single person. So it's like, what are the main things that I'm really wanting to change? Okay, let's focus on those limiting beliefs first. So if you are wanting to, let's just keep using the career example, because I feel like so many people are actually not happy in their careers. So say that you're at your job, you're miserable, you can't wait for Friday, so you don't have to work for 2 days to go back to work on Monday. You wake up Monday, it's 7 a.m, you're slugging into work, dealing with your narcissistic boss, and it's just like you're living this vicious cycle of like making your nervous system just go on a roller coaster of like, I have to do this thing I don't want to do. Pause. That's another limiting belief, that suffering is necessary to gain success or to have some sort of great outcome. I'm sorry. That one's crazy to me. You do not need to suffer to achieve happiness and peace and all of the beautiful things. Like, why are we putting ourselves through like eating things that we don't want to eat and like extreme workouts and just like, and showing up to jobs that we don't like and being in relationships that we don't want to be in and living in a city that we don't actually want to be in? And it's like, what is going on, people? We need to rewrite these beliefs, because you are the one who's in control of your life and your reality. And so this is the beautiful start to changing all of this. So sorry, I'm very passionate about this, and I will go off on a tangent because it's just wild to me that people are suffering from things that they actually can control. So this would look like finding out what you want your days to look like as you're writing these limiting beliefs of, is there shame around leaving your job, and what does that look like? Is there some sort of limiting belief around what other people think of you and you caring about that? These are some of the little like spider webs that are associated with leaving your corporate job, right? To go rogue or whatever. People are going to judge me if I'm a TikTok influencer or, whatever it may be, and kind of unpacking that. But then a piece of that too, then when you're rewriting that limiting belief, is to really embody what that version of you looks like. And you can take this as deep as you want to. You can say, and this almost is like a little manifestation tool too, if you're really trying to like bring something in, you can really talk about like, I wake up on a Monday morning, I roll out of bed at 7 a.m. with my 2 beautiful cats, and I don't touch my phone because nobody's calling me, texting me, emailing me like that I need to get back to at any particular time. I go to my kitchen, I make myself a coffee, and I journal about, my dreams the night before or whatever has come up for me that morning, and then do my morning stretching, and then I start my day. I work from home, I create content from an authentic place, and you just go, and you let yourself kind of just really be in it, get lost in it. And that can be like a really beautiful way if you want to like specifically hone in on one and get real particular about it. That's a really pretty way to do it. But then in this actual exercise and like of the learning and unlearning, you can just say like, the unlearning part is, I care what everybody thinks about me, right? That's the belief that you want to unlearn. Then you do a little arrow, and you say, nobody is actually worrying about what I'm doing. They are just worrying about themselves. Therefore, I'm going to show up 100% authentic and do what I want to do and not worry about how others may perceive it. Done. And then you start living from that space. And you start living from, okay, this has come up. I'm noticing that I'm caring that this person saw me post this thing, or looked at me in public, like recording a video or whatever. And then in that moment, how can we start changing that thought, that belief? Going home, doing the onion exercise, journaling why that felt triggering for you, what came up for you. So this is quite a bit of information, and I understand this is a lot, but do you see how these are all associated with one another? The observing, and then the processing, and then the learning and the unlearning. So it's really, really beautiful when you start, like I was saying from the very beginning, compounding this over time. And if you haven't listened to my other 2 episodes, I'd go back and listen, so this will start to make more sense. But this is how we start really getting to the root of some of these things that are in our field that we may not even realize that are holding us back from really achieving greatness. Whew. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know this is quite a bit of information, and that's why I just try to give it to you guys in bite-sized pieces, because these are really big topics that I'm just trying to simplify as best that I can so that it doesn't seem so overwhelming or so crazy. But these are really important tools and resources that everybody can utilize at any stage of their lives to help you get to the next stage that you want to get to, of not only knowing yourself, but of bringing in the things that you want to bring in, and like living in pure joy and having very healthy relationships with every aspect of your life, with your job, with food, with work, with, physical exercise, like with everything. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I think I want to talk about manifesting next week. We're going to feel it out. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you're wanting to work one-on-one with me, my Instagram is linked below in the show notes. It's at House of Antonia Co. So I'd love to work with you and hear some of your stories. Please let me know where you're tuning in from, and we'll chat again next week. Thank you guys.